Hey everybody, it's last week from the table for March 2nd, 2021. I am your host, DM Galabond. Tonight we're going to take a look at what happened in the last week in the Thursday night Sword Coast Chronicles game, the Saturday night Lost Mine of Original D&D game, and the Sunday afternoon Walker of Waterdeep game. That's all coming up right now. Alright, on Saturday night we play the Lost Mines of Original D&D. And this past Saturday we just played the 20th session of this game, so we're getting very close to wrapping this up. You can join us Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. over at twitch.tv/Galabond to see how we are doing in this game. Okay, the party had finished cleaning out Cragmaw Castle the week before, but in this session there were still a couple of places that they had not explored. They had not explored up here in the Hobgoblin Barracks, which were of course empty, and they knew about but had not dealt with the gray ooze trap over here in this area. Now, those who played this game in 5th edition will remember that there's actually in the 5e version there is a Grick over here, but the Grick does not exist in original D&D, so we had to change that out for a gray ooze. So that was the trap that was there. And then the other place they had not yet been is down here in this tower, where, of course, there is an owlbear. All right, so as they went through, they heard some banging and scraping on the door here, and they also noticed that the hobgoblins had the door locked. So they knew there was something dangerous, and the goblins who lived in the castle told them, "Oh yeah, that's an owlbear. You gotta watch out for that." And so they made a plan, and a couple of the characters got in position to be able to fire arrows, and a very brave goblin, actually a goblin that was charmed by Alice, so it wasn't so brave, that goblin volunteered to unlock the door, and then let the owlbear chase it past where the ooze was, making sure that the goblin was not going to run under the ooze. So hopefully the owlbear would run under the ooze and have it fall on it. Now, that plan kind of worked. As the owlbear came out of this area and went up into area 12 here on the map, it actually caught the goblin, because it turns out that owlbears in original D&D are faster than goblins in original D&D, which means that it got an attack, it hit, and it one-shot killed the goblin. So that meant our ranged attackers, who were positioned over here in area 8, had to shoot the owlbear while it was dining on the corpse of the goblin. That made the owlbear mad. The owlbear came running across, and then the PCs ran past the area here in front of this big altar where the gray ooze would fall down on it. And so the poor owlbear runs by, the gray ooze falls down on the owlbear, and the two started fighting with each other. And of course, the gray ooze immediately starts dealing damage to the owlbear. The owlbear starts clawing and attacking at the gray ooze, and then the owlbear was starting to get very badly hurt by the acid from the ooze, so it decided it was going to try to flee. It fled out this way, going out the side, the north entrance of the castle, And of course, because the gray ooze is a sticky ooze, it was stuck to the owlbear. So when the owlbear ran away and off into the wilderness, it took the gray ooze with it. And the party was able to resolve both problems at once. Unfortunately, they did lose a valuable goblin employee in the bargain there. Now, last week you may recall that the witch Amy met her demise when she boldly strode into this trapped area here, and everything collapsed on her. Well, her little sister Alice showed up. And it turns out that Amy had stolen her witch hat from her sister Alice, and Alice wanted it back. And now that Alice is here, she decides, oh, okay, well, she's going to join the party too. Now, Alice doesn't seem to have the same kind of megalomania as Amy did. Doesn't seem like she wants to take over the world, but she's happy to be part of the party that takes over the world. So um, we're now sort of more in a distributed oligarchy of world leadership instead of a single empress that is going to rule everything. Now, at the end of this episode, they made some plans along with Gundren Rockseeker to go find the Wave Echo Cave, because Gundren has his map back now, a map that King Groll had stolen. They also found some nice loot in there. Over here in King Groll's bedroll, there was quite a bit of gold. There were some potions. There were some scrolls. And then up on a high ledge in this tower where the owlbear had been, there was a chest that was not locked. Zahir, the rogue, or the thief, I'm sorry, this is original edition D&D, Zahir climbed up that tower, opened up the chest, and got some gold, got some scrolls, and got another potion. So they're doing pretty good there. And then Gundren had a war council with all of the leaders. So that would include Clark the Bugbear, Sildar Hallwinter, and the party members, and Dill, who has been designated as lieutenant of the goblins. They all had a war council about how they want to assault Wave Echo Cave, because they know that Gundren's brothers are being held there, and they know that the Black Spider has his lair there. So they eventually remembered that they still have that cart outside that has the sarcophagus with the green slime in it. And the only problem is that the tunnel going into Wave Echo Cave is kind of narrow. So between them, they decided that they would be able to break apart the cart and then rebuild a very narrow version of a cart just wide enough to put the sarcophagus on, and send the sarcophagus down that tunnel. The goblins also decided they could rig up a barrel that was filled with equal parts oil and goblin scat, which stinks very, very badly. And they could set that on fire so that when the wagon crashes and the sarcophagus spills out, ejecting the slime, the fire will be behind it and will force the slime deeper into the mine, so that all of the minions of the Black Spider have to deal with it, hopefully before the party does. Now, this sounds like a huge Rube Goldberg type of solution to a problem, and I am all about this because this should be a lot of fun. So if you want to see what happens with all of these shenanigans, I would urge you to come and join us on Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. We are getting very close to ending up the Lost Mine of original D&D, and then the party will help me decide what we're going to do after that. All right, so come on and join us then. All right, last Thursday at 8 p.m. over on twitch.tv/Galabond, the party were still in the city of Gracklestugh. Now, over in Gracklestugh, they had just finished up their meeting with Themberchaud the Wyrmsmith. And when they finished that meeting, they went to meet with Garkatar, who is the leader of the Keepers of the Flame. Now, Themberchaud had offered the party 5,000 gold pieces each in order to go find the red dragon egg and destroy it and bring back proof that it had been destroyed. So when they met with Garkatar, they decided that what they should do is try to ask for more money since Garkatar wants the egg found and brought back intact. Also means that that's going to have a fully grown red dragon upset at them. So that's hazard pay on top of beating the bounty that the dragon would pay for destroying the egg. So what they decided to do is they settled on an amount of 7,000 gold plus 3,000 gold worth of magic items for each party member. And they would go find the egg and bring it back safely to the Keepers of the Flame. Towards the end of their meeting, Garkatar gave them a holy symbol of one of the Duragar dark gods that would help them to locate this Droki. Droki is a Darrow who is like a mule or something for the Grey Ghosts, which is the Thieves Guild that operates in the Whirlstone Tunnels, where both Themberchaud and the Keepers of the Flame believe that the dragon egg is being kept and where they think they can find it to have it recovered. So after they had that meeting, they decided to go grab some lunch, because this is all still in the morning of the day after they went to the Hold of the Deep King over here. So they went back to the Darklake district, and they found a place that sells Underdark crayfish, fresh from the Darklake. And Falazur introduced Krenraid the dwarf to the art of southern hot sauce. And so they had these Underdark crayfish with hot sauce on them. And everybody consumed large quantities of ale. There were also some fans of Falazur that had been at the Shattered Spire the night before, and one of the female fans asked Falazur to sign her bosom for her, so he did that as they left the restaurant. All right, so after leaving the restaurant at lunch, they went back to Karagorn Cavern, where they went to the home of the Stonespeaker, and they were going to meet the Seneshal of Deepking Steelshadow V. Now, back at the home of the Stonespeaker, they found that he had indeed successfully given his cave bear, Tiny, a bath, and the cave bear was sleeping off his exhaustion after fighting over getting his bath, but his fur looked very soft and very fluffy and whatnot. As they talked with the Seneschal of the Deep King, they came to the realization that this shawl is definitely more than she appears. And between things that the Seneschal has observed, things that the party has observed, and other bits and pieces of information that have been picked up, they are all under the impression that the shawl is probably something along the lines of a succubus. So they have to figure out a way to allow the Deep King to see the consort's true form. And the Seneschal believes he has a solution for this. there is a high-level wizard that the Seneschal knows in town who is coming to the banquet. That wizard, as well as the king, both are fans of music, and they believe that they can get the king and this wizard up on the stage with the musicians for the finale of the concert, and that would be an opportunity for the wizard to cast True Seeing on the king and touch him, and that would then reveal um, if Shawl is indeed some kind of extraplanar creature, a fiend or something like that, it would reveal that true form to the king's eyes. Hopefully that would be enough to basically break the charm that she has on him. Of course, there's a bit of a risk in that, but it's the best idea that they could come up with. So, if you want to find out what happens to the party, it would be really amazing if you could come on Thursday night, join us over at twitch.tv/Galabond, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and see how this all plays out. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We hope that we will see you there. All right, so then on Sunday, we play the Walker of Waterdeep at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, again over on twitch.tv/Galabond. Now, this time they were finishing up with a meeting that they were having here in this idyllic spot where they were talking with Mochi, the kami who is the patron kami of the Soratami people in Kamigawa. Now, this artwork, I did not create this artwork. This artwork comes from Nargis Jafari. You can find all of their work over at nargisart.com on the web. So here we are. This is a map of the plain of Kamigawa. And this art, actually, I could never quite find who the artist was, but this is actually from a Kamigawa or a Magic the Gathering wiki on a plane on Kamigawa, and this is a fan-created art of the plane. Apparently, this is based on artwork that Wizards of the Coast created back during the time that they released the Kamigawa block, but this has a little bit more detail added to it. So it's the best map I could find. So it's the one that I've sort of been giving to the players as we've been going through to show them where everything is laid out. So where they had been is up here at this floating city in the cloud, and they had been meeting with Mochi here, the Kamigawa, and they decided they needed to talk to the disgraced general, who they had found at the human city of Oboro over in the Jukai Forest. Okina Village in the Jukai Forest. So Mochi offered to teleport them over there after disguising himself as a human. And so there they went. They teleported over to there, and they arrived here at this beautiful little Okina village. Now, again, not art that I created. The artist here is Weston T. Jones, and you can find his artwork on the web at westontjones.com. All right, so when they got here, the person they were looking to meet was General Toshiro Umezawa. And the party explained everything that Mochi had told them about the reasons behind the Kami War, and that they were able to get into the palace by means of a special friend. And so everybody looked at this other human, and the party said, all right, our friend is going to show you their true form. And Mochi revealed himself, which freaked out everybody in the village because they're at war with the Kami. But they quickly realized this is a Kami that's not interested in fighting anybody. Between the plan that Mochi had to mask everybody in illusion as humans, and more specifically as human servants in the palace. And with Toshiro Umezawa's knowledge of how the palace is laid out, they then began to go ahead and enact their plan. They spent an evening detailing every step of the way what they would do, and knowing kind of what the layout was, and previewing, and then means of escape if they came to need that. So when they were ready, Mochi put the illusion on all of them to make them look like palace servants. And then he said that once they got to the palace grounds, he would have to leave them because of the wards going into the palace itself that would prevent a kami like himself from entering the ground or entering the building. So here they are over at Okina Village, and once again with the teleportation, they go to Aigon Town, and then more specifically within Aigon Town, they went here to Aiganjo Keep. And where they teleported into is they teleported into this garden area here down in the southeast. And then they just like servants, they made their way through the palace, and their arrival was the wee hours of the morning, so somewhere around 3 or 4 in the morning. So very little activity going on in the palace. So they just kind of have the run of the place. They walk in through this dining area here. Then they headed, of course, to the kitchen. And when they got to the kitchen, they grabbed food and everything like they would to take up to the princess. And then they climbed up these stairways here, the servant stairs. And when they arrived on the second level, they came out of the servant stairs, crossed by the master bedchamber where Lord Kanda sleeps, all the way over to the room where his daughter sleeps, the princess. And this is the princess's quarters. Now, I should go back and I should say that this particular map and the map before it, this map, as well as this map of the princess's quarters, they are all created for me by one of my players. They're all created by Goonie, or Heather, who plays Inka Yelka. She enjoys making maps and doing art and everything. It's something I find very tedious and I'm not very good at. So it's really nice to have someone in the game that can come up with this artwork. All right, so once they got into the princess's outer chambers here, then the two female characters, Elora and Inka, they entered, of course, in the guise of servants, into the princess's bedchamber, and they awoke her. And this is Princess Mashiko. They helped Princess Mashiko get up and get dressed, and then they brought her out into the main area where they found the rest of the servants. And at that point in time, they had to take the next real major risk, which is having the general reveal his true form. Now, General Umezawa was a longtime tutor and a mentor of Princess Mashiko. She looks at him like a beloved uncle, even after he was banished from the castle, and he has always thought of her almost like his own daughter. And so he explained Lord Kanda's role in the Kami War, which Princess Mashiko was shocked to hear, but not entirely surprised to learn. It was something she didn't know, but she is aware of how single-minded and sort of ruthless her father can be. And so it sort of made sense that he would be involved in that. And when she found out that there was a way that she could help to end the war, she was all for it. And, the party was very upfront that they weren't sure what this would mean. but she even skipped having any breakfast and said, let's just go to the shrine right now and go take care of this. Now, the shrine they were talking about is the Shrine of Myojin, which is this area here. Now, this map, again, is not something I created. This is a map that I actually found off of the subreddit D&D Maps. That's a great resource. All I put in there is that I was looking for something that was a shrine, and then I looked for something that struck me as being vaguely Asian or Oriental and slightly fantasy, and I came up with this. So, um, I am sorry, the artist's name escapes me, but that subreddit is basically up there as a place that people put resources for DMs that can go and then create those maps for their own campaigns. So it's really, really beautiful work. So they come into the main entrance and they go into the main shrine area here. And at the top of this area is I like kind of the way this is already lit on the map because it lends credence to that which was taken, which is this sort of luminescent globe. And I don't even have to tell you about it. I can show you what it's supposed to look like. This is the artwork of that which was taken out of the Kamigawa expansion. And that is the unborn offspring of Okagachi, the most powerful kami in all of Kamigawa. And this is what Lord Kanda stole on the night that his daughter was born, and the reason that the kami have been attacking the material realm ever since. If you were a powerful godlike being and somebody stole your child, you probably would be pretty angry about that too. So, this is the source of the whole conflict. Well, when they all got in there, nobody was really sure exactly how to go about freeing that which was taken. But as Princess Mashiko approached, the entity inside began to get more active and more agitated. And so she reached out and she touched the outer surface of the sphere. And when she did, that dissipated in a flash of light. And beside the princess, appeared a lovely young human-looking woman. This is the human form that was taken by that which was taken, and she identified her name as Kyodai. And so the princess started to apologize for the fact that she had been kidnapped and held captive here. And Kyodai said, no, this is a blessing. And she took the princess by the hand and she took her over to where the rest of the party was standing. And she asked if there was anybody in the group that could perform a ceremony. And of course, Adamant is a cleric of Moradin, and he's like, yes, I can. So then Coyote turned to the princess and asked the princess if she would marry her. And so that is where we had to leave the session. Actually, the princess said yes. The princess accepted the offer of marriage. And by this union of the daughter of Okagachi and the daughter of Lord Kanda, that is what can bring the spirit realm and the mortal realm back into alignment and back into harmony. Of course, an alarm went off as soon as that which was taken was dissipated. And the party anticipates that while Adamant is trying to perform this marriage, there's probably going to be some people trying to attack. So that's all going to happen next week. So join us Sunday afternoon, 2 p.m., and we will pick up from there. All right, well, that's going to do it for last week from the table. For this week, I hope you all will join us again next week to find out a summary of what's going on. And please go ahead and look in the description and find out how you can follow the games as they unfold. And join us in the chat room on Twitch as we play out each of these episodes. All right, and last but not least, try to make your games memorable so that you can have tales that you can share from your table as well. Good night, everyone.